This week, British tennis player Jack Draper surprised the world by stating that his serious injury was, in part, the fault of Carlos Alcaraz and Jannik Sinner. Words that, although they may sound accusatory, hide a more complex reality of high-level competition in today's tennis. But, how did Carlos Alcaraz react to these statements? Today we tell you his response, one that has sparked a lot of discussion and reveals the most human side of the Spanish champion. Carlos Alcaraz's response was immediate. With his usual calmness, the Mercian tennis player spoke during a press conference, where he was directly questioned about Draper's comments. Alcaraz began with a smile, making it clear he did not feel offended. "I didn't know that playing well could be a crime," he said in an ironic tone, provoking laughter among those present. However, his tone became more serious when speaking about the pressure on the tour. Alcaraz explained that he perfectly understands the need to constantly improve. "We all want to get better, and if what I do motivates others, that's something positive. But you also have to know your body's limits," he stated. He added that each player is different and that trying to imitate someone else without listening to your body can lead to dangerous consequences. "Sometimes, the best thing you can do is play your own tennis," he concluded. Alcaraz's reflection was also a message for young people who dream of reaching the top. There isn't just one path to becoming number one. Jannik and I are different, and Draper is different too. The key is to find your style and take good care of yourself in the process, he expressed. His words showed not only maturity but also a strong sense of empathy toward his fellow tour colleague. He also took the opportunity to talk about the importance of rest, a topic rarely discussed publicly. "Sometimes people think training more is always better. But there are days when resting might be the smartest thing you can do for your career," he confessed. According to him, success lies not in extreme sacrifice, but in balance. He also admitted that he himself has made mistakes by wanting to move forward too quickly. "I've had minor injuries from not listening to my body, from not saying stop when I should have. I learned that ambition is useless if you're out of the game for 6 months, he shared sincerely. According to him, this is something all young tennis players must learn. Finally, he sent a direct message to Draper: "Jack is an incredible player and has a lot of talent. I wish him a season full of health and great results. I'm sure he'll come back stronger than ever." His response was met with applause in the room, making it clear that respect among rivals remains an essential value in this sport. Following these statements, social media reacted quickly. Many fans highlighted Alcaraz's emotional maturity, while others pointed out that Draper's words could be misinterpreted as unfair criticism. However, most agreed that both players had given a lesson on the mental and physical challenges of high performance. Some even called for a joint campaign to raise awareness about athlete health. The international press also praised the way Alcaraz handled the situation. Media outlets such as L'Equipe and The Guardian highlighted his humility and self-awareness despite his young age. An editorial in the New York Times went even further, stating that tennis needs more voices like Carlos, who understand that talent is not incompatible with empathy. All of this further consolidated his image as not only a sporting reference, but also a human one. As for Jannik Sinner, he has not yet issued an official statement. However, sources close to the Italian say he is focused on preparing for the spring tournaments. Some rumors suggest he could speak out in the coming weeks, probably at the Miami Masters. Meanwhile, the spotlight has mainly been on Alcaraz because of his public reaction. This controversy has reopened an old debate in the tennis world. Is the human body being pushed to its limit in order to reach the elite? Many coaches and former players have warned that the pressure to remain in the top 10 can destroy careers if not properly managed. Draper's case adds to a long list of talents whose dreams were paused by premature injuries. The ATP has mentioned that they are considering new initiatives to support players' physical and mental health. Measures such as mandatory rest periods, more rigorous periodic medical evaluations, and injury prevention workshops are being studied. Although these proposals are still under discussion, Draper's situation could accelerate their implementation in the short term. For Alcaraz, all of this is a sign that tennis also needs to evolve off the court. "We are in a moment where a lot of risk is taken to be the best. But being the best is useless if you are alone and injured," he said to close the press conference. A phrase that, beyond sports, resonates strongly in real life. Jack Draper's statement may have sounded controversial at first, but it ended up opening a deep conversation about the challenges of professional tennis. Carlos Alcaraz, far from entering into conflict, responded with respect, empathy, and a valuable reflection on the importance of physical and mental balance in high-level sport. Both tennis players, from their own experiences, have made it clear that the true rival is not always on the other side of the net. Sometimes, the greatest challenge lies within oneself, in the ability to recognize limits and prioritize health over any trophy. Tennis, like life, is a game of endurance, mind, and heart. What Draper and Alcaraz leave us with is a lesson that goes beyond rankings or titles. And you? Do you think elite athletes should take more breaks to protect their health? Leave us your opinion in the comments and subscribe so you don't miss our next videos. The greatest secret of Alcaraz revealed by a legendary coach. Rick Macci, former coach of tennis players such as Serena Williams and Andy Roddick, cannot contain his admiration for the Mercian. Carlitos' attitude on court is what excites him the most. Carlos Alcaraz has started 2026 dominating world tennis. Amid doubts following his split with Juan Carlos Ferrero, the world number one responded by winning his first Australian Open and making history by becoming the youngest player to win all 4 Grand Slams. His victory over Novak Djokovic in the Melbourne final once again earned him praise from countless personalities in the tennis world. The Mercian's dominance in the first major of the year sparked admiration not only in racket sports but across the global sports world. Rick Macci is one of Alcaraz's greatest admirers. The former coach of tennis legends such as Serena Williams, Andy Roddick, and Maria Sharapova is amazed by Carlitos' achievements but, above all, by the Spaniard's attitude on court during moments of maximum pressure. Macci's fascination with Alcaraz is so great that he does not hesitate to give him one of the most heartfelt compliments on his social media. Carlos is the best thing that has happened to tennis in the last 5 years. His smile, his complete game, his unique style, has changed the way it is taught and reminds us that it is a game and games should be fun. After his triumph in Melbourne, Carlitos announced that he would not compete in the ATP Rotterdam. The world number one is now waiting for his next challenge, with his sights set on going even further and trying to win all 4 majors in the same year. The Doha tournament received very bad news this Wednesday: Novak Djokovic's withdrawal. The Serbian announced that he will not travel to Qatar and will take a few more weeks of rest following his participation in the Australian Open. Thus, barring surprises, his return has been postponed until the Masters 1000 in Indian Wells, which will begin in California on March 4. This frustrates the anticipated reunion of the Serbian with Carlos Alcaraz and Jannik Sinner, whom he faced in Melbourne, and who are the top favorites for a title that neither of them has in their record. Last year, Alcaraz, who is currently training in Murcia before traveling to Qatar, was surprisingly defeated in the quarterfinals by Czech player Jiří Lehecka, 6-3, 3-6, 6-4, while Sinner could not participate due to being suspended for doping. The Spaniard remains at the top of the ATP rankings for another week, now with a 2,750-point advantage over Sinner after seeing the 500 points from last year's Rotterdam victory deducted. Rafael Nadal acknowledges Novak Djokovic as the greatest in history after the Australian final. Spanish tennis player Rafael Nadal has publicly stated that Novak Djokovic is the greatest player in the history of this sport, based on the records accumulated by the Serbian over the past decades. The statement was made during a recent interview with the Spanish press, where the Mallorca idol analyzed the trajectory of his main competitors and the impact of the titles won on the ATP World Circuit. Nadal emphasized that the statistical data is indisputable and that he has no reservations about admitting the numerical superiority of his former rival on the court. During the conversation with local journalists, Nadal detailed the reasons that lead him to place the Serbian in a standalone position at the top of professional sport. He highlighted that longevity and physical endurance were determining factors for Djokovic to surpass the Grand Slam title mark previously set by him and Roger Federer. The Spaniard's analysis takes into account not only his refined technique, but also the emotional and physical recovery capacity that the current world number 3 has demonstrated in crucial moments of his career.